Is Neal Brown about to be a Buckeye? How would that fit be, and how possible is it? Let's talk about it on this episode of Locked On West Virginia. Crazy, man.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up? Welcome back in, guys. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia, brought to you by FanDuel. Super Bowl 59 is here, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers can bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's if you win that first $5 bet. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started today. And thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen. And for being part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. Hello, hello, hello. I am back in the saddle, back out of the hospital. They can't hold me down. I'm the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. If you want to go off the Bret Hart side of things, all joking aside, had a scare over the weekend. Like I told you guys yesterday, they thought I had some kind of sepsis. They thought I was septic. It turned out to be contaminant when they poked me during the IV process. Thank God. But it was scary, and I felt bad for a day because it did infect my blood. But they flushed it out with extraordinarily you want to talk about, I didn't know antibiotics got that powerful, man. Like, you ever smelled your pee after some antibiotics like that? It's insane. Anyway, I'm getting down a rabbit hole. So let's talk about this really quick. Neal Brown is being considered for the Ohio State offensive coordinator position per multiple sources. You know, I think this is very interesting. I don't know where it originated, but, you know, Neal Brown said, if I can remember back in December, I want to coach. I think I got the quote here. Yeah, I want to coach. I think there are a lot of positives from a personal perspective and professionally about his future. And there are some really good jobs open. There are jobs that are resourced well in leagues that you can go and win in. My anticipation is that I will be a head coach, but time will tell. So Neal Brown has been rumored for multiple jobs. Obviously, we heard about Charlotte. I think that was his job to turn down, which he did. Appalachian State, same deal. Don't know how close he was to the App State landing that job, but we do know that there was some level of mutual interest. Now we are here. Then we heard Wake Forest, and he was, you know, possible for a job at Wake Forest. And now, you know, one of the best jobs in all of sports, the Ohio State offensive coordinator position, could be Neal Brown's. Now, I don't know what their list is and what level he would fall in on it. But if you're just talking about as a straight up play caller, Neal Brown is absolutely a good football coach, in my opinion. This is my opinion. I know everybody agrees. It looks like most people agree. The Silver Bulletin posted this earlier. Former Westford, this is on X, by the way, the Silver Bulletin on X at T Silver Bulletin. Former West Virginia head coach Neal Brown is reportedly a candidate for the vacant Ohio State offensive coordinator position. Brown, whose offenses have always been highly ranked, runs a spread system similar to Ohio State's. So, yeah, and he does. It's very similar to what Chip Kelly does and did. So, first of all, Ohio State's more of a run-first type offense, although they pass it a bunch this year, absolutely. They love that kind of scheme. I think, Neal Brown would be a good fit there. But from a West Virginia perspective, this would be a home run. Number one, you've got a guy – I think you can make a case the Ohio State offensive coordinator job is as good as some head coaching jobs because it's going to catapult you into, if you do well, any job you want, any job Neal Brown wants. If he gets this job, he'll get, right? Because they'll probably be successful. It's really, I don't think if you give Neal Brown the talent, I don't think he'll fail there because he's not going to have to manage the day-to-day stuff. He's a great culture guy in the locker room, no doubt. And I personally think that, man, look, you look at Neal Brown as a guy that he's going to do the most with a roster like that. I think they would be good. I don't doubt that. But how does it benefit West Virginia? Well, obviously, that buyout, there's a good chance that it would cover all of that, which means West Virginia would basically be off the hook. I mean, really, like it may cover 70, 80% of his contract that West Virginia is to pay. That's more money that we can put towards revenue sharing. That's more money that we can put towards recruiting. That's more money that we can put towards facilities. That's more money we can put towards a lot of things. And at the end of the day, this is a West Virginia-centric channel. We are West Virginia-centric focused people. Great on Neal Brown and great on Ohio State. Don't let the door hit you in the ASS on the way out. But we worry about the Mountaineers around here. And if whatever happens secondary, we'll cover it. But I don't really care whether he's successful there or not. I know some people do. Great. Good for you. Glad you like Neal Brown and root for his success. I'm neutral on it. Like if he goes out and gets, absolutely manhandled at Ohio State, I won't lose a wink of sleep over it. If he's successful, I will wonder how that benefits West Virginia. Outside of that, that's it. So the only thing that I could think of is that maybe he would try to negative recruit a little bit over there, but I don't see Neal Brown as being the type of guy that would do that. And rarely is West Virginia in league with some of the same players that Ohio State is. But maybe when revenue sharing gets going, that might change a little bit. I don't know. I doubt it. So why would they consider Neal Brown? Well, like I said, great character guy, maybe the character guy. If you had to look him up in the dictionary, I think Neal Brown is absolutely, in that conversation. He has been successful at running offenses. I mean, it's not like offense wasn't exactly the problem at West Virginia. Sometimes it was a solution. It was very good. Very, very good. But, C.J. Donaldson must be sick. That's so funny. Good joke. That's funny. Somebody posted in the comment section, C.J. Donaldson's going to be sick. I don't know, man. I think C.J., maybe they'll ask C.J. about Neal. And I think they were close. One of the reasons he left. Here's something that I think we haven't considered yet, though. Let's talk about this for a second. Now that you're talking about that, could we be worried about some of the players we have on roster going to Ohio State now? If this happens, it's not happening. It's not in stone or anything like that. But let's project forward a little bit. Would a Jaheim White or would a Nico Markiel consider a transfer to Ohio State? What if they wanted him? If feelings were mutual? Certainly anybody in the country would want Jaheim White. There's not many players left on this roster to get. Rodney Gallagher, Jaheim White are two of them. So, how could you turn it down if they did come for you? That would be an interesting thing. I don't know what would happen in those situations. I mean, it's like so late on. Spring is around the corner. If Neal Brown gets that Ohio State job, I think we'll have to be watching with bated breath a couple of the players on this roster. Neal Brown could absolutely come after a CJ, or not a CJ, but a Jaheim or a Rodney Gallagher. Now, will I lose much sleep over Rodney? Not as much as I would Jaheim. I think Jaheim White's set up to have enormous success in this Rich Rodriguez offense, more than he's ever had by a long shot in a Neal Brown offense. And that's a fact, Jack. But if you're taking me to Ohio State with his talents, then I would have to rethink that because they have the best of everything, right? It's just the way it is. It's a known fact. So there's a lot to unpack with it. But overall, I think that I don't know who else they have on their radar. If I had a list, maybe it would help me kind of unpack a little bit more of his chances to see if Neal Brown stacks up with the competition. Here's the thing. Neal Brown's a really good offensive coordinator. He was always been known as that. Guys like Dana and Neal don't just grow on trees necessarily. And he's available. And he's done it at the Power 5 level. And he's been successful at it. I don't know how many guys are just sitting at home that are ready at this point in the season. I mean, it's not very ideal to lose your OC this late in the game, in the offseason. So Neal may be the best that's left. And I would be shocked if he didn't get the job and we didn't lose a guy or two. But we'll see. I'm going to be following this story as we move along. Thank you for those of you on X for being in here. We have a few hundred people watching right now. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and absolutely say hello to your friend, to the friends in the chat. Let them know where you're from, what you've been doing, what you've been up to. Up next on Locked On West Virginia, West Virginia landed a JUCO pass rusher yesterday, and I was floored when I saw how good he was on tape. Stick around for that breakdown on this episode of Locked On West Virginia. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is brought to you by none other than, you know it, you love it, FanDuel. Super Bowl 59 is here. One game, two teams, endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or even betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action. With live betting all game long, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to the final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you can place a $5 bet, potentially win 200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl, well, that's the icing on the cake. Download the app and head to FanDuel.com to get started. You just have to bet $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Don't forget to bet with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 59. All right, as we proceed on here on Locked On West Virginia, it's segment 2. Let's crack a do. You know we got to do that. First do since we've been back from the hospital. Never tasted no better. Bad grammar and all. Never tasted no better. All right, so West Virginia landed another commit yesterday, if you didn't pay attention. They've landed a few over the past couple of days. Absolutely, actually. So, they stayed steady with the recruiting, whether that's high school, whether that's, transfer portal, whether that's JUCO, all these different routes they've been going for stuff. Let's start with I touched on this last night, but I didn't do enough. Jafar Jean Noel announced that he will play for the Mountaineers in 2026. 5'10", 180-pound receiver from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. One of the most underrated players in the 2026 class. Held offers from Miami, Michigan, Kentucky, Washington, Wisconsin, Louisville, all kinds more. I went and put on the tape. Watch the tape, by the way. Watch the tape when we talk about it. That means not the highlights. That means not the lowlights. That means the tape, right? That means turn on the game, watch the game instead of just watching highlights. Then you get to know players a little bit better. It helps everybody in there, as a hobbyist when it comes to, I'm a hobbyist when it comes to evaluating players. That's, in my opinion, one of the best way to do it. If you can get all 22 footage, that's even better. That's the bird's eye view that looks down on top of players, but that's really hard and almost impossible to get in high school. I digress. So let's talk about this kid, man. So he's 5'10", 180 pounds, super elusive, super explosive. Same vein as, like I said yesterday, Jock Sanders, Noel Devine, Darius Raynaud, Rodney Gallagher, very similar to that, except more explosive. Day Farmer, it's that same vein. The kid's from South Carolina, and he's going to help us. He's got a really, really good athlete, good athleticism. He's played both sides of the ball. He will be a receiver, I'm told, at least starting out. Great with the ball after, in his hands after the catch, really elusive, makes people miss. Got good feet in and out of breaks when there's route running. He can drop his hips a little bit more in coverage or in pass receiving, both. But other than that, in my opinion, he's really polished. And there's a reason he's one of the most underrated players in 2026. look for him to make an impact early in 2026. I think he'll play as a freshman. And then West Virginia also landed, and this one, man, was I'll tell you what. Whenever I went to look into this, sometimes you see JUCO and you kind of exhale a little bit, like, oh, here we go. There's a guy that may not get a ton of playing time, or he's a depth piece. Marshawn Oxley is not a depth piece. I was shocked when I went and put on his tape, man. This past season at Hutchinson Community College, 42 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 12 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 1 pass breakup, stats up and down the stat line like he's a point guard. Prior to going down to the JUCO level, he did spend 2 years at Colorado State, and after redshirting, he had 26 tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. Forced fumbles seem to be a thing for him. What's he good at? Coming off the edge. Whenever he gets to what's called like this point to where if the quarterback doesn't step up, he can get his hands on him, right? And if the tackle's not able to beat him to the chase, then you've got a place where they can meet. A lot of tackles are really good at letting you get really close to there, but not quite. What he does so extremely well, and he's got a knack for it, is he will get to that edge where he's almost running completely, totally sideways, and he'll dip that shoulder at the last minute and go underneath the tackle and get to the quarterback. I've seen him do it several times, 10, 12, 15 times while studying him on tape. That's something that he is extremely gifted at doing. And it's one of those things where it's about flexibility. It's about knee bend. It's about hip bend, being able to get flexible in pass rushing situations when you're trying to rush up against a guy that's bigger and stronger than you in most situations. And then another thing, he can come from the right or left side. He's very versatile, which is why I think he and Jamori Robinson are going to pair well together and also rotate in and out for each other. He's going to make a huge impact. I really like this kid. He's going to get a JUCO year back, which means he's going to have a couple of years remaining, probably 2 or 3. I think it's 3. So, this is going to be somebody that we're going to be able to mold over the next few years. I don't know, what kind of weight they want him to gain. He's not huge. He's right around 6'2", 6'3", 230, 240 pounds, I think he is. I haven't seen the official listing just yet. Let's see if I can find it. Hold on. Let me look and see how big he is really quick. Okay. Marshawn Oxley. Size. Okay. So we got 6'2", 225 right here. 6'3", 215 right here. So he's in that ballpark. Let's say 6'3", 225, 230. That's obviously okay for an outside linebacker. You might want to bulk up to 240 at the Power 5 level so you can hold up a little better against the run. But what he does against the run that's really good is he's elusive at the point of when the block, when they meet. So he's really good at getting his hands on offensive linemen and hand fighting, getting them guys out of the way. I look like Steven Seagal. But, so he does a really good job at that. Other things he does well is using leverage against tackles. If they put too much effort in one area, he will, do the jersey grab and pull forward, which is not exactly illegal, but it's kind of get you something you can get away with. Another thing he does that is one of his best features. Like this is not a rookie pass rusher. This is a guy with advanced pass rushing moves. And so another thing he does coming off the right side that I've noticed is whenever he comes off the right side and he gets that left hand into the tackle, he's able to convert speed to power, which is not something every defensive end can do. So as he comes off the edge, coming like he's going to come under that, left shoulder for a left tackle, he'll put that arm up in their chest and drive them forward into the quarterback. That's something that's really fun to watch. And some tackles are good at bowing up right there at the last minute and stopping that. But what he does off of that a lot of times is clubs those arms out of the way, and the tackle is boom. His momentum is used against him, and he's around him. And because in the pass rushing scenario, a lot of times, especially if the quarterback's mobile, you're all around with it. And he has a relentless motor. So Marshawn Oxley is a name. One of my, and like if I had to, I'd put him right near my top 5 impactful recruits coming into this year from portal, because I consider JUCO guys portal now. Even though they're technically recruits, I consider them with the portal, especially if they played college football before. So that's how I look at that. But yeah, I think he's going to make an impact, man. So it's going to be fun seeing what he can bring to the table. He's got, he's, like I said, he's good at Colorado State. They play some good competition. Oh, by the way, the highlights I was watching him in, let me look up his name again really quick. Let's see, Oxley. So, yeah, there he is. So the team he played against on his highlights here, I'm trying to see the team. Now, I can't see him on here, but anyway, it was a JUCO college they were playing against. It was Hutchinson last year. Oh, yeah, it was Iowa Western. The left tackle for Iowa Western has a myriad of group of 5 offers. I'm talking about a ton, everybody that you can think of from the group of 5. So he's a D1 player, and he absolutely dominated him, whooped him all game long. The right tackle has some group of 5 offers too, and he made him look silly at times as well. So Iowa Western's left tackle got whooped all day long by Marshawn Oxley, and he had UNLV reaching out. He had a ton reaching out. So he's whooping guys that can play D1 football. So I think he can make an impact at West Virginia. We'll see. Up next on Locked on West Virginia, let's put a bow on this one, guys. It's great to be back. I'll be right back. There's no ad read. All right, here we are. So this has been a fun one. I appreciate you guys all for joining in. I had to go earlier today because of my internet situation. I am fixing it as we speak. I know I've been saying that, but I went in the hospital, so that pushed me back a little bit. I had a court date today for child support that I was supposed to go to, and I had to push that back even a week because of my health situation. So it's just I've been having to put some things on the back burner. I appreciate you guys for being so supportive through all this. Like I said, I had hundreds and hundreds of people reach out to me. No, not hundreds and hundreds, but dozens and dozens of people reach out to me and hundreds of, post messages underneath my post that, wishing me well. And it was a scary weekend, guys. It really was. It woke me up in a lot of ways. I realized that I have to change my life and get more healthy. As you guys know, I have a daughter now that I've reconnected with, and it's not just her, but a lot of it is her. And I want to, be here for as long as I can for that. And you guys helped me realize it in my comments. Some of you messaged me personally and helped me work through the situation with her, that I was kind of questioning my actions. And I just didn't know what to do at certain times. When you don't see a little girl that's been without you since she was 2 or 3, and now she's in 10th grade, it's pretty shocking. And it makes you feel like crap about yourself. So a lot of you guys helped me work through that. And if you're not familiar with me on this show, for years now, people know my personal business on here. It's part of the community. It's how I build it personally for me. I share my life with you guys because I feel like a lot of people get on these things and are just talking heads. I'm not that. I'm just a regular guy like you. I don't have a perfect life. I built this channel from the ground up, and it's got me all through it. That includes you guys, the people that stick around here because you like something about what I do, whether it's my passion about West Virginia, my fight with addiction, or my other struggles. And I thank you guys for joining me for that. It means everything. You guys literally are everything to me. You keep me going each day. Now I've got other reasons to fight. I've got a little girl that I'm trying to work my way back in there too. So, and that means a lot to me, a lot. So, like I said, you guys are awesome, and I'll be back as often as I can this week. I'm still a little bit fatigued from that blood infection and all that. So it was scary. It was scary, man. I really thought I was in for a battle because, sepsis is not something that just goes away real easy. It's like super, super scary battle. So thankfully that's not the case. But I'll digress off of that. If Neal Brown gets the Ohio State job, that'll be huge news, obviously. We'll get on here and talk about it. One note, we do have a recruit that will commit tomorrow. I can't say who yet, but just be watching for that. It'll be another guy, not high school, not portal. You can guess from there. I don't know when tomorrow. He just said tomorrow. So I'll get on here and update you. I know a lot about the guys, so we've been talking for a while, but been waiting on this. So we're excited. I'll let him get the news out there, then we'll talk about it. Other than that, guys, I think that's it for today. I will be back on later if anything happens. I don't expect anything to happen, but you never know this time of year. I mean, Rich Rod said we've got moves to make, so there could be other guys I'm not aware of because I've been in the hospital and stuff, so we'll see. But I plan on recording tomorrow for sure, and then, the next couple of days. But as far as 2 a day right now, I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm going to try. It's just partially the internet is just a huge pain in my rear end, and I'm going to try to find another provider. It's just I got to make sure they're going to give me the upload speed that I need, because they give you the download speed, but the upload speed is totally different. I need something that's going to work on here for me live, and that's just hard to get. So, all right, guys, I will talk to you on the next one. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate the support. This one's over, and I'm out of here. I'll talk to you later, y'all.